Iruma just did the impossible. The Demon King's key just lit up, and the door opened for him alone, and a hand reached out from beyond. Iruma grabbed it and vanished, with Amory diving in alongside him, and now they've woken up in a world that looks nothing like the Netherworld or even Earth. So what is this place? Who reached out from the other side? And why did the door only react to Iruma? Let's break down one of the craziest chapters in Iruma-Kun so far, and why this might be the start of the most important arc yet. The chapter begins with Delkira in front of the Demon King's door. Then we see Iruma and Jazz holding the Demon King's key on camera, with everyone celebrating and Amory taking charge because Shaki's not in the best spot right now, letting everyone know that Malleus Phantom, he failed in his mission and he fled. They protected the Demon King's key successfully, leading to the question, will Amory be deserving of a rank up? Well, to put it simply, yes, maybe, kind of. Now that might sound insane given that Malleus did escape, but she managed to lead the charge and do something that has never been done before. Make Malleus fail in his mission completely, and remember that the requirement to pass Scala is to simply prove that you're beneficial to the demon world, which she certainly did. But I'd love to hear what you guys think, because realistically she wasn't the main player here. Shaki played a huge part in his capture, but she didn't mess up at the same time. And then obviously Iruma and Jazz were the ones who finished it off. But speaking of people who helped, Asmodeus and Clara are also unconscious from Malleus's whistle. Remember that this thing was capable of knocking out magical beasts, and let's be honest, Malleus's was definitely stronger than the one Jazz used in the past. But thanks to Ali-san, Iruma did manage to cope. But then, Iruma's finger touches the key, and everything changes forever, as the key glows with aura and beams towards the door. And Iruma seems possessed, walking towards it, asking to see the key, and the door changes into a skull. This did not happen with Malleus. Iruma, with a blank stare, inserts the key, and the door opens with everyone in shock, including Mephisto, who clearly knows something is going on. Iruma still has a blank stare, but then a hand reaches from beyond the gate, and Iruma touches it, which somehow completely deactivates his evil cycle on that half of his body. But before he's pulled in, the goat, Azazel Amory, moves on instinct to protect her man. Just like her father did in the Deficulum, she was the first one to react. But all that happens is that they both get dragged into the gate as it slams behind them. Now, the big question is, what the hell just happened? Well, I believe I have an explanation after a long time of debating what the hell just happened, because I'm gonna be honest, I was very confused. So, given the fact that the door changed completely for Iruma, and it only happened when his finger touched the key, and when we look at the end of chapter 416, when Ali-san was clearly trying to touch the key as well. So what if the door could only be opened by Delkira himself? Or more accurately, Delkira's mana, which we know Iruma possesses. So, Malleus could have never opened the door, even if he tried. But you're probably wondering, what the hell happened to Iruma? I mean, he very clearly had a shift in his personality when he touched the key. Well, I believe that he was possessed by Delkira, or more accurately, Ali-san. I mentioned in my other video on Delkira that Ali-san has been awakening to his true memories, the memories of Delkira, and he clearly had the goal to reach this door, so with the key interacting with him, his memories are completely back. So he took the chance to make Iruma act with one goal, to open the Great Beyond Gate. But this leads to another question, who the hell's hand is this? Well, there's a few explanations that I've seen going around and some that I have myself, so let's go over all three of them. For one, this could be Ali-san. Iruma's ring does look a lot more bare than usual, and his aura beamed into the door after touching the key, so it could be that Ali-san himself opened the door first, or more accurately entered the door, and pulled Iruma with him. And two, this could literally just be Delkira himself. I mean, it's said that this is the world that he disappeared to all those years ago, and we also saw him in front of the gate at the start of the chapter, and I doubt Nishi would just put that for no reason. So, after sensing his own mana for the first time in years, which he planned for, which I went over in my theory video, he reached out his hand knowing that the one with his mana would be possessed to touch it. And three, it could just be an illusion. Similar to how Iruma was definitely possessed and to open the door, he could have just been shown an illusion of Delkira's hand and walked into it himself. But which one do I believe is actually the case? Well, the second, because there are some holes that I've poked into the first and third theory. The first is that it's a bit far-fetched to say that Ali-san went into the gate, pulled Iruma in with a transformed hand. I mean, he'd have to do all of that insanely fast, and we didn't see any sort of black aura that we usually see from Ali. And for the third theory, given that we see Iruma touch the hand and on that specific side of his body his evil cycle is deactivated, I find it very unlikely to just be an illusion. So heading back to the chapter, everyone is in disbelief as Iruma and Amory wake up in a completely different world. That's right, the new era of Iruma-Kun is here, as they both look around to see this beautiful landscape, and it looks very familiar, because this is where we saw Amory's mother, Marise. Look at the flower, it's identical and the whole area looks the same, so it couldn't be Earth, because let's be real, these flowers don't exist on Earth, bruv. So where the are they? And why was Henry here? Well, one of my initial theories on where this place was, where I predicted it a long time ago, has definitely just became true. Even though I went back on that theory. It's a bit embarrassing for me, but who cares? I believe that this is definitely the land of the deities. The door looked very similar to the flowers we see around Princess Shura, and now that we're inside, I'm even more convinced. Remember how I mentioned that Iruma's evil cycle was deactivated with force? Well, what if the powers of the deities completely wipe out demonic mana, so no demon can enter this world? But now you're asking, Hoppo, this is completely wrong. I mean, Amory's here, and she's a demon, so how is she even surviving here? Well, that's because Amory is part deity. Yeah, I know I said it was Clara to begin with, which could still be true by the way, but given this chapter, I'm way more convinced that it's Amory. Because Marise has to be from here, that's why Henry couldn't stay with her. She had to leave the demon world, and Henry's discussion with Iruma earlier on, wasn't about sending someone back to the human world, but to the world of deities. Meaning that Amory is indeed a hybrid between demon and deity. I mean, I'm not sure if demons would actually die if they came here without mana, that hasn't been confirmed, but we can assume that they would be completely powerless and caught off guard by the fact that they don't have magic, something they've lived with their entire lives. But the main thing is that yes, I believe that they can't use their original mana right now. Iruma and Amory are going to have to explore this world together, and I believe that Nishi is leading to them ending up together. I mean, come on, they're in a whole different world, completely segregated from everyone else. If Nishi doesn't do this, she's flopped fully for the first time in the story. And it's not like Asmodeus and Clara can help, which by the way, speaking of those two, I believe we'll be here for a while, because remember that they promised each other that they'd look for Iruma together if he disappeared, which he just did. No one else can enter this world now without the key and Delkira's mana. Amory will have to eventually confront Iruma's humanity whilst finding out about her own mother and who she truly is, leading to what this arc will cause after. Well, I've speculated that Bar will reveal Iruma's identity to cause him to run away in other videos, forcing him away from Babylos, and he'll have to go stronger on his own. But this chapter kind of confirms how exactly he'll do that. So if this world can't be accessed by demons, it will prove that Iruma is not a demon, or at least full demon. So Bar will use that against him to prove that this guy is a human, because even though he already knows that Iruma is human, he can't really use that evidence against him, because remember how he got it. But now he can convince Demon Border Control to be on his ass, which Narnia will take that opportunity immediately, since he's wanted to capture Iruma anyway and deport him. But Iruma can't be captured, right? I mean, surely not. Which leads me to my next theory. So, Malleus Phantom has been evading the Demon Border Control for years, and he's never been caught. Even in the most recent arc, when he was confronted by everyone, including our main characters, he still escaped. So, who better to help Iruma escape than Malleus Phantom? Obviously, he used Iruma before, but he could use this as a f*** you to the Demon Border Control. If he takes Iruma, someone they want the most, it'll be a massive revenge plot for him, and Iruma will actually become his true apprentice. I mean, think about how insane that'll be. It'll be peak fiction. But what about Amory? What will happen to her when she leaves? Well, because she's human and deities, she's probably got proof that she was using mana, and besides, she's got Henry to defend her, so he definitely won't let her be arrested or anything, especially because she's done so much for Demon Border Control. Remember, she's been on 2 missions for them, so a lot of people on that side will vouch for her as well. But speaking of her being a deity, this could lead to some brand new powers for her. So we know she has a romanticist, but we've never actually seen her evil cycle or even heard of it. So what if she doesn't even have one? Now I know what you guys are thinking, and I was in the same boat at first, like, no, I want to see evil cycle Amory. What if she has something even better? What if she has her own deity type cycle? Now, again, this is pure speculation, but if that's the case, then she'll have her own complete transformation, which she can then buff even more with Romanticist. She'd be completely broken. And I do also think that Ali-san right now has completely disconnected from the ring. Or he's not even there right now. He's just became a part of Delkira. And it'll eventually lead to Delkira passing up his throne to Iruma, since he knows he can't go back, so Iruma will take it. That's if Delkira is alive, which will have to go into future videos. I've had past videos where I do believe he's human or partially human, like part demon, part human, human. But I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. But this does lead to another thing of how the hell was Henry here? Because he was here with Marise, but that could easily be explained, that he wasn't here for long, that demons actually don't die when they come here, like I said, or that Marise just helped them out a lot with her own powers. We don't really know just yet. But honestly, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this chapter, because I've got so many theories, and this is the one that made the most sense to me. But honestly, join my Discord to talk about it more, because the discussions on the chapter have been absolutely peak. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, and I do recommend the Delkira theory video that's on screen right now. That would explain a lot of the stuff I talked about in this video. Okay.